go back to my guest speaker for this session, who is Naila Kazi. She's actually the founder of CCL Canada, and she helps organizations lead change with clarity and confidence. She has an experience across sectors. She likes to simplify complex transitions and put people at the center. Her approach blends practical strategy with a strong focus on leadership, learning, and inclusion. So this was about the companies and guest speaker. Now it's time to get to the topic, and I would like to give this presentation or the control to Naila.
Thank you so much.
Naila,
I
you can
think,
carry on.
yeah, I think, guys, welcome everybody. Good morning or good afternoon or maybe lunchtime in some parts of the world. We're very, very fortunate to have people from around the globe. We have plenty of people registered, but I could see that the number is increasing, and like within few minutes, we will have more people join us. A little bit about myself. I live in Toronto. Good morning from Toronto. I would say that it's such a bright, beautiful day. I know you guys are living. Some of you are in hot countries. If you're not from here, North America, and talking about like it's such a sunny day and it's a beautiful day. Maybe add more heat to your already hot day. So I'm not going to say that. But for us here in Toronto, it's like such a beautiful day. This is a long weekend. So it's a perfect day to do a webinar on this topic, which is close to our work and it's close to my heart and my almost 10 years or 15 years of experience working in this area. I live in Toronto half of my life. I was in Australia, so I went to Sydney University to do my MBA. But prior to that, I was with Melbourne University. I did my master's in training, learning, and leadership. And I think early on in my career, I was in Australia, and it was 2007 and 2008 time. Some of you may be very, very young or in maybe primary school, or some of you may remember the world crisis came. I think before COVID, that was the biggest crisis which I saw in my life, and that was the Wall Street crash. Housing became very big issue, like in the States, in America, North America, and banking was the biggest sector which was impacted. And with that, there was an impact all over the world. And that was the time when my career shifted from being a leadership and learning and training professional to that, how do we bring this change? So I was working for a global firm at that time. They have headquarters here in the States, but their function was all over the world. So I was flying all over the world with some of my team members, some of my senior people, but we were talking about change. Change not in a sense that we could control as an organization, but how do we survive as a consulting? It was a wastewater consulting and construction consulting. That how do we survive when there is no business, say for example, or even the clients are diminishing and we are letting lots of people go, that how do we survive? So that change, the project was called Passion for Purpose, and that stood with me for all my life. I think change is not just as we think. We each one of us could do change. We may have done change, and we take a naive approach to that. And that no wonder McKinsey reports and all the other like researching organizations. You look up and you would be surprised that even after AI, the percentage of failure in change is way more than it was before. So the ratio is 70% failure in change to 90% sometimes failure in change. Different reports cite different number. What does that mean? That means that when we launch change, we need certain methodology. When we launch change, we need some passion for purpose. That why are we doing it? All right, so I'll just start with the story that which really impacted my career, which really impacted me as a professional. And I realized that when change happens, it's not that one aspect changes. You have to be able to lead that change. You have to be able to take that change from end to end. That means from planning to strategizing. You have to be that intersection of planning, strategy, to execution, and you should be thriving on that. If you don't do that, you leave just one part out, and post go what happens, like when the change is launched, the people go back to the bad habits, and that's where change fails. So guys, warm up your fingers because it's a very interactive session, and I really wanted to know where you joining us from today. What's one um, roadblock which you see you facing in your organization or you face in your business, which is stopping you from digitization? Like, what one block you think is stopping you from digitization? Is this lack of understanding, or you don't know, like the knowledge gap, or you think that there would be resistance if you are a government organization, you are a bank, you think there would be resistance because some of those organizations are highly compliance oriented. Where do you see any gap? The biggest issue with change is we lack, where we get roadblocks is inspiring purpose. So we don't have the purpose. So we don't have teams which are aligned with a shared purpose for the future. If we have the purpose, in most of the cases, it's not articulated very well. So in terms of that, you need leadership team to be part of it. So they have to articulate in some way. You have to communicate it through emails. You have to communicate it through newsletters. That purpose needs to be communicated depending on the size of the organization at least 3 months prior to you start your project. Generally what happens, where the failure happens, and I have been part of those projects here in Canada and some parts of Australia and North America as well, that we jump on the project, we just start the project, and half of the organization does not even know what we're doing. And frankly, some of the stakeholder who are senior leaders, like VPs in an organization, if we have 10 VPs, you ask 5 of them in one-on-one interviews, they would have no clue. They would just know, yeah, we know we are launching SAP, but they would have no idea when, how, what, because their biggest fear is A, people may lose job. B, people may not be ready. And C, what is the timeline? Because everybody is worried about the timeline. So where we make mistake in, as leaders, for example, some of you may be leaders, some of you may be change practitioners, learning and development professionals, or many other professionals. You are in the room today. I think where my experience of, like, say 20 years, I would share that, where I've seen that purpose, which is inspiring, is not crystal clear, it's not communicated. Is from Microsoft, like, so they change their, they wanted to bring a change, and instead of bringing a change, they didn't want it to bore people, they called it empowering each and every individual. That was their inspiring purpose. So when they communicated it so well, the purpose went right, great, like change happened on its own. And likewise, Deloitte has connected workplaces, and I worked here at Rogers on Deloitte models. We used shared workspaces. So when we changed the workspaces and we changed the language communication to shared workspaces, connected workspaces, change happened on its own. So the point is that you don't need to use actually the change management words itself, but you should have an inspiring purpose. The next piece is about business growth. You really need to connect the change to measurable outcomes. People want to see the numbers. People want to see, all right, if, and especially the leadership team and some of the frontline staff also, depends where the change is happening. And we are saying digitization of change in a digital world. People want to see the numbers. How much percentage our complaints would go down, say, for example, how much percentage the growth rate or customers' orders or the clients' interactions or our meetings with the clients or our lead generation will improve. So you have to present the number as a change practitioner, regardless you a change manager or a leader in your organization, but being expert in change, when you are bringing digital kind of change in the organization, you have to be ready to pull those numbers whatever system you're launching. You may be launching Oracle, you may be launching SAP, you may be launching whatever, guys. You have to present the numbers. You could use Power BI for that. Qualtrics is like AI based, very, very easy to use. But my advice is go everywhere, wherever you go with numbers, because that's your biggest kind of weapon to convince that, look, if we don't use strategies which we are recommending for change, these numbers will go down. The cost of inaction, the risk raising, that is your job to do it along with the project managers. Or if you're the project manager yourself, you have to do it as well. And number three on this slide is vivid future state. Now, this is very important, vivid future state. So imagine, just close your eyes for a couple of minutes or seconds and imagine that we say that there's a great job waiting for you in a great country, but we don't tell you where is that country, which country is that, where would be your house, where would you live, what would happen with kids if you have kids, or if you don't have one, what is going to happen with rest of the things. But we give you a promise and we ship you on to a flight. Like, how are you feeling? How would you feel like if there's no vivid future kind of articulated really clearly well. So in terms of digital transformation path, it's very, very important that you have step by step roadmap.
Only I say we are just one step behind, as you said, inspiring business growth and vivid for future state, etc. You're talking about the digitization, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
But now the world is moving towards digitization to AI mode. So
absolutely. Yeah,
there's a one more jump. That's what
yeah,
I started as
absolutely.
a
There's one more jump.
proactively.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was proactively thinking, yeah, how the digitization we skip and move to the AI. So from
And
yeah,
absolutely, this is the point you raise is very,
yeah,
very important, and that is the reason I gave example of
yeah.
my early time. Even if it's now AI, AI is a tool. Digitization is a tool. Any enterprise model, SAP, ERP, Oracle, everything is a tool. But humanity is more evolving, and we need to evolve with that. And our organizations, unfortunately, lag behind. The step two is fostering agility and embracing complexity. This is very, very important. So we become agile, we become fast. And agility, I'm not talking about in terms of agile project management certification. That's great as well, because that's what I'm doing right now. But agility in terms of jumping quicker onto that, but it's your job to foster that agility, bring that environment through your talks, through your presentations, through raising risks when you meet with leaders, that we need to be really, really fast. Four points I put on this slide. The first of all, you have to anticipate trends, and as you said, like just rightly, like really scanning horizons for upcoming shifts. Now, AI, initially we thought AI is just the chat GPT. Then we found out AI is making auto videos, like you can make your own videos. Then we learned AI is this. And then, so every day now, agentic AI. And then Microsoft is launching like all agents, which are your personal robots. So if you go and attend Microsoft Salesforce workshops, you would really like it's like mind blowing to see that how fast that those trends and those horizons. It sometimes looks like, are we really capable to really hold everything? Like there is so much happening due to AI and at extremely faster speed, right? And then we talk about flow with change. And I love that part because it's dancing with systems rather than controlling them. Like when I say dancing with system is, as you said, Harun, that now we have to jump to AI, and then once AI and then it's agentic AI. So we kind of like dancing means just let it come, and whatever works for the organization will be accepted. Whatever doesn't work there will not be accepted. That's the rule of nature, rule of law, rule of kind of human survival, that what works stays there. What does not work, it dies on its own. So it's kind of dancing. It's not, you can't like close the doors and keep AI out, and you can't just all open it and bring it in, because you need to have the environment ready for that. So it's kind of, that's called like dancing with the systems. And the other one is flexible adaptation. which is very, very important. I really think that change leaders should be flexible. They should be responding quickly. They have that growth mindset. They grow, they learn, they find out newer things, and they kind of quickly change with changing conditions. Last point on this is continuous improvement. So, regularly refining your processes and approaches. Now, this point is very important because we can buy system software, we can buy AI, but if our environment is not ready for that product, your processes are not aligned to AI, and our approaches are not aligned to that, there is a mismatch, there is misalignment, and that's where McKinsey says 70 to 90% changes fail, because you can buy the system, you can spend money, but people are not using it. For example, you can launch AI Copilot, but you can't push people to use it unless you cut off all the other systems, all spreadsheets are gone, all Microsoft tool is gone, there's no other tool, they are just in this desert, that there's just AI product, of course they're going to use it. We can't just bring in a digital product and launch it when people are not ready. In change management language, we call it change readiness. We need to build that, we need to create that. And that's
Yeah,
not just the frontline people, that's in the mind of senior leadership, C suite executives, then the middle management, and then
yes.
the frontline managers. You have to build in across all those layers.
We
Yeah,
are still working in the same trend. Uh, so you are right. We need to. We can discuss these things, but if it is not in the higher management, it cannot be easily implemented in kingdom's
absolutely.
environment.
I totally agree that C suite has to be leading it. Your sponsor should be the higher management. It has come down from there, and only then you are able to do all this. Like, that's why I said present them with numbers. It's very important because they get motivated by seeing the numbers. And step three is empowering people and promoting communication. This is very important. Number one, really focusing on well being, prioritize employee health satisfaction during transition. That's the biggest fear people have because they're so used to working in the older way of working that they consider anything new is going to put stress on me. I'm already stressed. I have like kids issues, family issues, then we are all kind of in a bigger community issues, political issues on top. We are kind of launching SAP, so we really need to make sure that people are easy. We need to guarantee that it's not going to impact in any bad way to their personal well-being. That's point one. And it's very important in the context where we live here in North America or Australia. I don't know in your world the employee well-being how much attention we pay, but it's becoming a global trend. The other piece is skills development, right? I think where people get very afraid and they resist is they think that we may not be trained enough. This is a fear of future. This is a fear of adaptiveness, that these digital competencies, we may not have the skills because remember, we have very tenured staff who may have worked 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and we need to really invest in their learning, ongoing learning, really making them ready. That is called change readiness, and this is a very, very important, like Vakas, that you have to do that piece as well. We will cover that somewhere else. Like, this is a very overarching picture which I'm presenting today, but change readiness is a very, very important step to overcome resistance. And the last one is open dialogue. The open dialogue should not be just with you or with the person who is kind of launching the change. The open dialogue should be with the leadership team, with the sponsors of the project, that okay, if we do this, be transparent that how it's going to impact our job. No, it's not going to impact your job. All right, how much it take? Will you train my teams? Yes, every single person would be trained. Would anyone lose job? No, no one lose job. Would the workspace would be the same nice as it was before? Would my managers be the same? So we have to answer all their concerns and all their questions, because resistance comes from concerns. It doesn't come from, people are not kind of resisting change because people are bad or people are lazy. It's not because of that. It's because of all those things which we don't answer properly in our plan. We just rush to the project and we are just pushing the project onto people who are already under a lot of stress. And frankly, end of the day, regardless what organization, what country we are, it's people who are going to make that change possible, right? Um, and then step four is stimulate network collaboration. This is very important. We do that on community basis. Remember how you may have temple or mosque or you may have church. Any change which we want to kind of bring in into our little community, what we do, we go to that community kind of platform and we create that awareness, and then some people adopt, and later on some other people kind of say, yeah, that makes sense. That's what you have to do. You have to bring that knowledge and you have to bring those silos. Next is foster transparency. Be transparent, right? Create a culture where information flows fully. Now, creating a culture is not your job. It's not in your control. You can't do it. It's again senior leadership team who would create a culture of being transparent, being open, and in that culture, it's possible to talk about change. The other piece is improved decision making. This is very, very important. That at what level decisions are made and how open decisions are made. So you could control that. You can call those meetings. People can show up or they not. That would show the engagement. And then you could report it to the sponsors of the project. But decision making should happen quick, fast and open so you can move forward. That you need that decision because you need to move forward. And the last one is team empowerment. You have to build your own team with very diverse perspective because you need different perspective. You need to listen, okay, what HR is thinking. You need to listen because you don't know yourself. You need to have your ears and eyes everywhere, and you do it by making a big change agent network. In the next or our upcoming session, we could teach you how to do that. Step five is redesign work environment and technology. You can't launch an AI agentic kind of model and have people sit in like older cubicle, dark cubicles, like mortar and brick kind of environment. The other piece was about implementing technology that's introduce innovate digital tools and platforms. But what I would say, do phase by phase. Do not do too many changes at the same time, because whoever kind of leaves lags behind and not become digitized or AI kind of driven, they are going to shut their door at some stage. It's kind of very scary in that sense, but it's very comfortable in the sense that the tools are like available to everybody. Now the whole world is available, it's open to you. Look at this, like we have joined from everywhere in the world establishing digital units. One thing works very well, that if you kind of have self-serving teams, they kind of serve themselves. We are all very independent people and we really take a lot of pride if we are given the ownership and empowerment, do the work. All right. So Naveed said, I believe communication at different levels. Yes, absolutely. That is a big resistor. I give it 10 out of 10. That communication is kind of broken phone line because there is no streamlined communication. The messages and the perception, which is at the executive level, is very different what is at the front line level. So it's your job to make it streamlined. You show progress in one department, as I said, do it in phases, and the next phase or the next department runs after you, that wow, we need this change. Absolutely, very good example, happens in real life. Another big reason, Usman, you said, Osama, that change because is the status quo does not change because people are afraid at different levels. Absolutely, people just want to do their jobs, they want to keep their job, and they think raising voice would kind of cause them lose their job. That's why you have to be very politically savvy, because you don't want to lose your contract, you don't want to lose your job. That's why I said that you just raise the risk in a very neutral tone. You are not kind of fighting with the organization. And Vakas said change management is difficult within matrix organization hierarchy. Absolutely, Vakas. I live that situation. I give it like thumbs up, someone else gave it, because what happens is everyone have a different political agendas, different perception, different point of views, and then it's matrix. You reporting to like people who are kind of fighting at the top, and you reporting to those matrix kind of structures, and it's very very difficult, and there are roadblocks. But yeah, that's the fun of being manager. And with that, I'll say thank you so much. And Sakaba, if you want to kind of wrap up and end this call, I'm happy to do that. Thanks.
Yes, sure. I actually would like to thank everyone for being a part of today's session, and I hope you have found it insightful for your professional journey. I would like to thank you, especially Naila, for such a valuable and engaging webinar. Or I would like to tell my audience to contact us on these number or emails if you would like to explore collaboration opportunities, if you would like to know about our trainings, and yeah, you're free to reach out to us. I also would like to announce the upcoming webinar, which will be on 30th of this month. This one will be focusing on practical tools and strategies that help people work together more smoothly and effectively. So it will be focusing on helping you create lasting results through better communication and shared goals.